Great pleasure to welcome you all. In our morning health talks. Morning health talks is a series of discussions, a series of webinars powered by EIT Health, and the aim of these webinars, of these discussions, is to pick a relevant topic in an ecosystem and discuss this in more details with relevant stakeholders. And EIT Health has been doing this for some time now, and this is part of the activities they do in the framework of their RIS-Hub program. So RIS-Hub program is a program containing 14 members all across Europe, and the aim is to support the regions where perhaps the innovation is not that pronounced. And although in Estonia we are already doing quite well in this framework or in this European framework program, we are still a little bit behind of the European average. So thus we can still be part of this program. And today we're focusing, so just a few words about EIT Health as well. It's one of the largest innovation networks in Europe and contains several hundred members one way or another. And it mainly focuses on three pillars. It supports research, it supports early stage companies, and it supports studies in health areas. And today we will focus, in the morning health talks, we will focus on the innovation in hospitals. So quick overview of the agenda of the day. We will kick it off with Jarika Järviste from Estonian Health Insurance Fund, and she will tell us about where the innovation in hospitals is going from the Health Insurance Fund perspective. Then we will have Siiri Heinaru from North Estonia Medical Center, and she will tell us about the innovation that is happening in a hospital. So that's North Estonia Medical Center. Then we will have Kalevi from EWEL, and he will talk about the new trends in how healthcare is organized in Finland. So more specifically, the social care reform in Finland. And he will be followed by Pauliina Pürgas from Oulu. We know Oulu as a great center for innovation and experienced living lab, and thus this experience is well relevant in this context. And then the final presentation will come from Iris Earn from Business Region Göteborg, and she will open the innovation trends in Sweden. And then we will have a discussion panel, which will be led by Jaanus Pikani, and the panel will consist of Iris, Kalevi, and Siiri. So without much further ado, I would give the floor to Jarika. So just a couple of quick statements. This event will be recorded. So if you do not wish to be recorded with your video, then turn off your video, of course. You are welcome to ask questions. So either raise your hand or write the question in the chat. We can figure it out either way. And other than that, I'm hoping you will have a very interesting event. This will be relevant to you, and we can take it from here. So Jarika, are you ready?
Thank you, Sven.
Great. I will stop sharing in case you have any slides to show us as well.
I'll try to get mine. Nope. I'm sorry, I'm so used to Teams by now that Zoom is...
It's a little bit different, yes.
Yeah, proving itself difficult, but now I'm there, I think.
Yes, we can see your slides, so please go ahead.
Perfect, thanks. So I'm Jarika Järviste. I'm head of development in Estonian Health Insurance Fund. And we in Health Insurance Fund have been working with hospitals on different innovation projects for now over 4 years. And today, what I'm gonna share with you is some of those biggest projects that we've been involved in. Then we'll look back a little bit and see the challenges and successes in collaboration in past 4 or 5 years. And I'll end my presentation with some of the supporting mechanisms that have grown out of these collaboration projects, and share some news from that field with you. I will probably not talk 30 minutes. We'll have some time to discuss afterwards if you have any questions. Unfortunately, I'll not be able to participate in the panel afterwards, but all your questions are very welcome. The innovative collaboration projects, I marked 3 of them because, and these 3 are probably the most innovative and most like multi-stakeholder containing. Stroke care pathway was the first big collaboration project that started in 2019. This project will come to an end by the end of this year, and from next year, hopefully we're going to see already some permanent care pathway components also in our price list, but that'll be those news are to be expected in the beginning of next year. Then a year later, we started with telemedicine. In the beginning of 2020, we launched remote consultations, and afterwards, in the end of 2020, we called out remote monitoring pilot projects. This project I'm going to open a little bit more in detail. We're going to see a video and think a little bit about different perspectives from and lessons from that project. And another care pathway started last year for hip and knee replacement, and that we will, today we don't know how long it will take, but as you can see, then those totally like new models of care in development together with different stakeholders will take time. So from the idea to actual practice and results, it'll take about 4 years, but that includes already the end of the pilots and the outcomes that we get from those. Stroke care pathway and remote monitoring pilot projects both have very good introduction videos. They're available on YouTube. I'm not going to show you the stroke care pathway right now, that you can check out later, but we'll check out the remote monitoring one. It'll take 2 minutes. Hopefully you'll hear the sound, and then we'll talk about it.
Access to health services and the quality of medical care when scheduled treatments are temporarily suspended or when the doctor is far away. This is where telemedicine comes in, providing health support at home. To develop new remote services, the Estonian Health Insurance Fund carried out a competition for pilot projects. 4 winning solutions will be put into action in 2022. 2 of them support the work of general practices. My Health Journey focuses on cooperation between the patient and the practice. It makes devising care plans more efficient and helps monitor and manage treatments. Pre-visit enables the patients to conveniently describe their health concerns before the appointment and receive appropriate support. This makes communication with the GP's office more flexible and treatment more timely, and the healthcare practitioner can focus on medical work. The other 2 projects being specialised medical care closer to people. On Contact enables to better support cancer patients outside of the hospital. Timely knowledge about the patient's side effects allow early intervention and treatment by the patient's care team. Psoriasis monitoring allows the medical team to assess the status of the condition remotely and take urgent action in case of exacerbation or comorbidities. The Health Insurance Fund supports these projects with €1 million. In the first year, the project's performance, participants, quality of life and service satisfaction are measured. Successful projects become permanent new health services that expand across the country. Remote services are developing fast around the world, and in Estonia too, just to make it easier for people to take good care of their health. Please find more information on the Health Insurance Fund webpage.
Now, nope.
Air-Balticu kirsiaeg on alanud.
I'll try to get done from here. Okay, so hopefully you got a little overview and also some extras from YouTube. But this is the overview of the timescale. I'm gonna stop here for a second just to show you like how we got into the situation that we had for pilot projects going on. So we had 2 rounds of applications. First, ideas. We got 33, which means that actually the hospitals were already in 2020 ready to think innovative, to give out ideas and ready to go on with them. After the first round, we gave all the participants 10,000 euros to go further with their ideas, to form it into a project. And in 3 months, we had another evaluation where we picked out 4 of those 10 projects. And from there on, there was preparation for the studies. And actually, the 2022 is the year where we had our projects running. We're collecting data, and actually there were quality studies also designed for each of those projects, and the results we'll get next year. But here you can see that the line is pretty long of stuff you need to do to get actually a good project running. And it has been challenging, but right now we're in a good place already. So what I'd like to point out is that what we did was bring providers, researchers, vendors, and thus the payer together to work for the same goal. And as you can see, the agreements that were needed to reach were difficult. Beginning with the service ownership, different quality measures. How do we say that the service is actually good for the purposes it was designed for? How to agree on the research methodology in the case where actually no one exactly knows how to evaluate different innovative service models. It's not exactly the same as with medicines. It's not exactly only medical device, so it has been interesting. Also agreeing on service price and performance pay, but this model of working and how we designed the steps of the project helped us to get to results or agreements in less than a year before we started the pilots. So some of the main lessons or things I would point out is fixing a common goal, and not by us, the payers or the organizers, but together with all the stakeholders for each project. And also the another important thing is treating all stakeholders as equal partners. Good communication is the key. And here you can see a sum of the project teams. This picture was taken about a week ago. We've had last year and this year we had like team days where we shared experiences and discussed how to go forward. And I can say that this year's meeting was much less tense. Last year we were in the middle of making all the agreements that I was listing on the last slide. But it's all possible, and actually today the atmosphere in the teams was very, very good, like looking ahead and trying to get the last bits done. So the collaboration, I think we managed to create nicely in the past years. So I've been talking about collaboration a lot, and actually what I'm going to share now is not depending only on the remote monitoring pilot projects, but also on the care pathway projects that were on the map in the previous slides, the stroke and the hip and knee replacement. And we were discussing with some of our colleagues from Health Insurance Fund that what were the challenges like 4 or 5 years ago, and where are we now in collaboration with the hospitals. And this actually here presents not only what's changed in the hospitals, but also what has changed in Health Insurance Fund. When we started with stroke or even the remote monitoring pilots, then it was the feeling was that Health Insurance Fund says, and then hospitals too, like the Health Insurance Fund is the house of truth, which it isn't. And it actually, we also have learned and worked a lot on that aspect, that we don't know how to do innovation. I don't think anyone does. The only thing here that we need to know is that everyone's ready to try, fall and try again, and get things going then. And it was confusing for the hospitals when we gave them freedom to decide what to do, how to set goals, where to go. It actually hasn't been like that. And if we think about how we are financing health services, then the fee-for-service based financing models also don't leave very much room for the providers to work with in terms of how to do things. But what we managed to achieve in doing the innovation projects, I think at least in some part, and it can also be like looked at on wider scale. So not only the innovation projects, but also all other collaborative things that we do with providers, then the same mindset shift can be seen. But coming back to innovation, then we see us as creators for opportunities. Innovation must be created where it's needed. So it definitely can't be that we say what needs to be done and then someone does, but we do have the measures to create opportunities for all providers to then seek the innovation that they need for their problems. Shared responsibilities, that actually goes very well with the financing schemes that we discussed, but also, yeah, that the responsibility for the outcomes and for the actions we take, we share, the payer and the provider. And all all stakeholders are equal partners. Respectful communication, listening to each other, hearing our sides has been very has taught us, I think, on all sides. Siri can actually later open the hospital side, but for us to understand what are the real problems and what is difficult from what we ask for our partners to do, and also our partners to understand what can be done and what we need to take into consideration. There might be aspects that they don't feel or see, and it's very important to get that understanding from both sides. But I think we're going in the right direction, and there's been a huge improvement in the mindset shift in the past 4 or 5 years. Some other insights that we've noticed. A very good thing is that with the innovation projects, big innovation projects, there comes funding, and that allows the hospitals to hire project managers. I listed it here as innovation drivers in the hospitals. But it's definitely not enough. And I think where we need to go is to actually, there we can go further. And I think that these people that have been found in the hospitals actually could take other services outside the pilots that we've organized also further. But that's something that's already there. We'll see what we can do with those resources and what hospitals can do. And also, I think Siri can comment that later. Then we've seen that in different hospitals, there are different innovative measures or initiatives inside the hospital that has nothing to do with us as health insurance fund, but we've heard and seen very good things happening. And what we could do or think about further is how to actually share the experiences in different hospitals, maybe on wider scale. Maybe we need some kind of a platform to share our mostly successes, so that the others also wouldn't need to go through the same mistakes, or could use the wins that we've already created in other hospitals. And the third insight I'd bring out is that the problems and the solutions stand far from each other. And what I mean by that is that we have a pretty strong innovation or digital solutions community. We have EIT, we have a healthcare cluster in Tallinn, we have Digital Therapeutics Estonia, etc. But these platforms all are a little bit tilted towards the vendors, which I would see as the solution, the potential solution givers, or who could solve problems. What we're lacking today is a platform how we could bring the problems from the hospitals and also from primary care and other providers to the vendors who could actually provide solutions to the problems. So here I also see that we can take bigger steps. And I'm going to end this part about collaboration with Henry Ford's citation. Coming together is a beginning, staying together is progress, and working together is success. And I think that describes very well the experience that we've had with remote monitoring pilot projects, but also with the care pathways. And I think we can take that idea with us going forward. And then I promised to tell you a little bit about Health Insurance Fund support mechanisms for innovation. I'm not going to stay here for long. I'm only going to show you this picture. Here you can see a very simplified scheme of innovation stages: ideation, solution creation, impact study or pilot project, and then escalation into everyday use over the target group. And lower in the gray area, you can see different supportive mechanisms for each stage. And health insurance fund, or Tervisekassa in Estonian, is focusing its innovation fund on the third stage, which is the impact study or the pilot projects. So we're creating a measure that would invest into collaborative impact assessment projects, 3 million euros a year. And we would support or make that investment in good quality evidence about new services compared to best practice so far. What we're not going to support from this fund is investments in product development. So going back to that scheme, then you can see that in the ideation phase and also in the solution creation or product development phase, there are different measures. We realized that the impact assessment is the place lacking most resources, and it actually very much needed also for us to make good decisions about financing new services, since there's not too much evidence on new innovative service models, so to fasten up the process. And you're very welcome to our Inspiration Day on 4th of November in Tallinn. The invitations are not out yet. They will be out in the beginning of next week. There will focus more on health innovation support mechanisms that I touched here, and tell you more about the 3 million innovation fund for different innovations as well. We'll spread the word through Biobank, so I'll let Maria or Sven know about the event, and probably from there you can all get the invitations. Collaboration is key in getting innovation in use, is my my message today. Thank you, everyone. And if anyone has questions, then I'll be happy to answer them.
Thank you, Arika. Very inspiring and thorough overview of what the Health Insurance Fund is doing. Do we have any questions from the audience at this stage? So please write your question in the chat. I don't think we have any questions in the chat yet, or you can just raise your hand and ask your question directly. In the meantime, I would ask Arika that. So what you're dealing with is a rather complex issue, and I'd say that many, not just reimbursement organizations, but also hospitals and also companies are thinking about it there, and perhaps are struggling a little bit. What is the reimbursement model to go forward with when we're talking about the digital solutions, which most likely will become more and more integrated into the healthcare provision in the upcoming years. So could you point out perhaps a couple of main things that you have learned, you have seen, you see that are more relevant when setting up this, what might be a very different way how we provide healthcare and how we also reimburse it. So if from your perspective, what are the sort of main drivers of the new system?
Yes, that's a really good question. And that's actually one of the reasons why we went on with the remote monitoring pilots, just to try out different ways of funding those models. But because it's not that easy, like just there's an appointment and we pay for the appointment so many euros. We have different models with different projects, and probably the best solution is, as you said, to look at the episode of care, however we define it as a whole. But to do that, there are some challenges if we want to take, for example, into consideration the value that has been created, or how do we measure quality, then these are pretty complex questions. But if we could define the episodes of care and create like some bundled payments are also done without the quality measures. So there are different ways. We're trying to look at a bigger like a piece of the care pathway than just one service. And with remote monitoring, it's very hard to say where that service begins and ends. We probably need to define it better. So I think that's the direction we're moving towards, away from very small pieces of services that we're naming a price tag on. But it's the way is not easy. It'll take some time, I think. But with the first services, we'll definitely have some new models to share with you next year, probably.
Yes, I fully agree. It's a rather complex picture and has to take into account the point of views of many stakeholders at this stage. So this is exactly what you're doing. So very, very pleased to see that. Also, I just wanted to, since we don't seem to have questions from the audience yet, so just to point out an additional thing that you mentioned the innovation drivers in hospitals, and I think the work with those is very, very relevant. In addition, I think we're also growing jointly as an ecosystem. So to have those drivers in place, the innovation pipeline, how you get this innovation to, I mean, sort of out from the hospital in first place, so this can be developed into a product or service, and then back to the hospital in a way, so this can be used for the better good, for the benefit of the people who need it, I mean, can be supported. And this, in this sense, what the Health Insurance Fund is doing to support. I enjoyed the pipeline you showed at the end. In this sense, the work you're doing to support this pipeline and help it help to build it stronger and bigger is extremely relevant. So many thanks for that. So do we have any questions to Jarikka from the audience at this stage? If not, then Jarikka, I would thank you for an insightful presentation. You are welcome to stay here as long as you can. And we would move on to the next presenter, who comes from North Estonian Medical Center. Siri Heinaru, are you with us?
Hi, yeah, I'm here.
Hi, Siri, great to have you.
Yeah, thanks.
We can already see your slides. If you can make them full screen, perhaps that would help. I don't know if you can.
I actually have it full screen.
I think we're currently seeing not the full screen mode. I don't know how about the others, but at least.
Do you see the preview mode then? No, you see the preview mode. Okay.
Just, yeah, the regular. So yeah, let's, if you can try to make it full screen once more. Yes, now we have it. Thank you so much.
Okay, but now I don't have my my notes. But okay, I will try to do it that way then. Hi everyone. Good morning. And actually, Sven and Jarikka, they both gave very good introduction to my talk. I'm glad to say that I'm representing, I think I can say that the most innovative hospital in Estonia, at least I think like that. And maybe first I wanted to to introduce a little bit my background, to actually show how those innovative managers or innovation drivers, how they are built, or how they actually find their way into that field. Since we do not have curriculum in the university where tons and tons of new innovation managers come out every spring. So my background is in physiotherapy, actually. So I have many years of clinical work a background, and I've done also a degree in health management. So that all kind of helps me, but still you start as an innovation specialist in the big hospital, you jump into the water, you just have to learn how to swim. And I also noticed from Jarika's presentation that it looks that the innovation in healthcare started 4 years ago. It's kind of in Estonia. It's probably not true. There was some projects and something going on definitely before that, but somehow like that structured way of how we do it was, I think, established when health insurance fund started to use innovation fund, or started to give up or gave out some innovation money. So same with me. I have almost worked for North Estonia Medical Center 4 years. So this presentation and my talk will also concentrate on my own experience in that during the 4 years. So just maybe it's my fault, but I thought there would be maybe a bit more people from abroad. So that's why, which is I think still fine. I will maybe give a little overview of our hospital, and after that I will concentrate on student projects, actually, which we started 4 years ago, and which I think was and still is one of the key star projects in hospital, where the innovation word is most often used, and also the new mindset is built with the clinicians. And like Jarika already mentioned, I will briefly discuss or give you an overview of 2 projects which we have taken part of, which are a stroke and stroke pathway project and remote monitoring project. And I'm glad to say that this year we also have some horizon projects, which are totally new world for me, for hospital. So that's a great success, but there's a lot of struggles as well. And I will not have, I was thinking if I created that presentation, that should I have a slides that this is positive, this is negative, I will not do that. So I will have all that together. I will tell the success stories, but besides that, I will point out some struggles or pain points. So for those who don't know very well North Estonia Medical Center, like I already said, we are one of the biggest hospitals in Estonia. We have, together with our daughter hospitals, almost 4,000 people working in the hospital. We are famous for mostly 3 specialities. So those are the cancer treatment, cardiology, and trauma. And very often also our innovation projects are around those clinical specialities. We are first degree hospital, so we are specialized on specialized care, so not so much of the first or this primary care level, and like I already mentioned, we are actually covering or kind of coordinating the specialized healthcare in half of Estonia. We do have daughter hospitals, but we also have a lot of ambulance centers. So, and for those who don't know very well the Estonia, then down here there's not only swamp and forest, there's actually civilization as well. And somewhere here is Tartu University Hospital, which takes care and coordinates the southeast part of Estonia, which doesn't mean that we do not have collaboration projects with them. Some numbers just to give again for foreign listeners the content. I will, like I already mentioned, the complexity index, which shows how kind of complex the cases are, is the highest in our hospital. So yeah, we are taking care of the most critical and most difficult cases in Estonia. In specialized care, we use a quarter of annual budget, of the whole annual budget of health insurance fund. What else to point out here? I think this telemedicine consultation, that's something which has been going on already for many years, already before our department was built. So that's again something where there's a need, there's a solution. So doctors themselves kind of developed the system, and it's mostly to support small islands, for example, where there are not always specialized clinicians on the island. Yeah, and then overall we have 7 clinics. We basically do everything. We do not treat children. But other than that, all the specialities we have, so 35 specialty centers altogether. To start with student projects, like I said, at least for me, when I started late 2018, it was the first collaboration I had on my table. And like I already mentioned, my background is more medical, and I had to just learn how to be a coordinator, how to lead innovation projects or that kind of co-designing projects. And I was really lucky to get to know Estonian Academy of Art and their and its personnel who who wanted to have very cool, very intensive design sprint in the hospital, and that was, I think, still one of the coolest thing we have done. So during 5 days, we had this like pop-out design studio in the main lobby, actually. So there were actually patients and relatives walking around the area where the students worked. I can't say 24/7, but at least 10 hours per day. The groups were there. The groups had the mentors. They had 4 different problems they had to find solutions for, and that was the first time we used this design thinking and co-designing and prototyping in hospital, and yeah, very often those and again, here you can see also our management board member, which is again something which actually is the great success, or which is the strength of our innovation work, because we have a strong background, or how do you say it, strong support from management board on patient pathway projects, on innovation projects, on student projects, and also that board members they find time to actually come up or down to meet the groups, meet the international students who were there for long days and gave them feedback. It's precious. It's very important, and it helps us a lot that we know that we are on the right path. And it's always cool to be around there and observe how the clinicians and the students and the teachers, during the discussions, when at some point you see that, for example, a doctor has this cool look, that you can see that there's a heureka moment, there's this enlightenment that, oh my God, that's brilliant. And very often I've seen that. And again, now I will stop and maybe tell a bit about the struggles, or the what's hard to do innovation or do these kind of collaboration projects in a hospital, is that the clinicians, nurses, first of all, they are super busy, and often they are quite conservative as well. So first impression very often is that I don't believe it can help us. I think it's the waste of time. I cannot find time. I cannot find 30 minutes to come speak with students. But very often, if they've actually seen the process, they have seen their way of thinking. They have seen how they ask questions which should be asked often, very direct questions, sometimes very good questions. Then at some point they, not all of course, but they break, or at least the mindset changes a little bit. They become more open and more polite, not polite, but soft towards those projects and those activities. So very often we have had every semester after that first sprint, we have had collaboration projects with Tallinn University of Technology and also the Academy of Art, where they have different curriculums which kind of tackle this service design methods, and they're really keen to come to hospital and actually have real projects with students, with real problems, with real doctors, nurses, and we have had so many of them already that only COVID times slowed us down a little bit. But other than that, every semester we have at least one student group walking around, observing, doing interviews, etc., etc. And here I want to point out that very often, yes, those solutions are, or the not only the solutions but also the prototypes they come up are way too difficult to actually put it into a real life. But that's the way the student has to think, a bit of out of the box. And here we need the hospital personnel have to have this reality check around there, and take some bits and pieces from those findings and from these solutions, which are maybe easier to put into a reality. And here I think the biggest struggle has been to get our IT team to collaborate here, mostly because it's just there's so much this national development work has to be done always with hospital information system, and that very often just to grab someone from the IT department to spend maybe the whole day or even many hours with students and give feedback which is doable, which is not doable, it's not easy. If we could plan it in advance, very long in advance, it's better, but often we are lacking with these projects. We are lacking the IT expertise. At least I don't have it so well that I could help students with that. So this visual here is just to sum up that often those solutions are digital, but first I forgot to mention that I will talk more about that kind of innovation projects where we tackle the processes, the hospital pathways, information, the way information is shared, etc. I'm not going to talk about pure IT innovation projects because they are curated from different departments. I think I will shortly also mention that we do have collaboration projects also with internal design students. So we not only have innovation projects and talks about the services, but we also, since we are always renovating, always reconstruction our new old buildings, and we are, like you Estonians have seen, we are also building a new wing for right now for hospital, and also planning to have a new hospital, the mental health hospital, and it's very great to see how also our hospital engineers and architects, they are open to design, or at least think how the new age hospital environment should look like, should feel like. So this concept of healing architecture is actually more and more also is in used. So that picture actually shows the idea of the day surgery ward waiting area, which I'm glad to say that next summer they will have the reconstruction for that. Of course, it will be not directly what you see here, but at least the place how the rooms are located and how much room there will be. It's directly from student project, and I'm really glad that I can say that it helped to push some progress that this discussion started with the student projects. I don't see my time, so I have no idea how bad I am with that. So you can interact.
You're doing great. You still have some minutes, so please.
Okay. Yeah. So yeah, and again, just shortly saying again a success story how we will have a new venipuncture area in hospital that will open already in spring, and again interaction master students point out quite many better ways how to organize that room, and I'm glad again to say that so many things were taken into account, and today we're actually building it, which is lovely. So health insurance fund projects, like Jarek already said, there has been 2 big ones, and I'm glad to say that and we as a hospital have been quite successful there. The stroke pathway project is about to end. Definitely a great learning experience. Thanks to that projects and many other pathway projects we have done, we are ready to start our own pathway program, or how to kind of develop the patient pathways in structured way in hospital. So it's not only a project but we will have some kind of plan for the whole hospital. And again, I will come back to that there's a lack of people, but also like Jarek said, thanks to those projects, we are finding people who again are brave enough to come and lead the projects, which they know will end at some point. But thanks to that thanks to that time they spend in a hospital, they are so well trained with the situation we have here, that today I am glad to say that in stroke patient pathway project manager will continue not as a project-based person in our department, but will stay hopefully for a long time to continue to work with patient pathways. And same with the remote monitoring project, which has still about a year to go. So we do have Kristin with us for a year more. And again, here I really hope that that this solution, which are piloted there, will continue to be in everyday practice. The nurses, the doctors will get used with that. And also I hope we have a great new opportunity for Kristin when the project ends. Again, this is huge learning opportunity for her and for us, and we should not let those people go. Since today I'm the only kind of like innovation specialist in the hospital, but like you said, like you heard, we have so many specialities, so many people, there's so much work. It's ongoing. And maybe to point out some struggles with these health insurance fund projects. Again, I would say collaboration, and often we again have to keep on mind that clinical personnel it has actually the highest rate of burnout. And right now we are facing also the lack of personnel, lack of nurses. So already those who are working for 2 or 3, and to push or to kind of put something more on their tables is always very hard. But again, we have to keep in mind that our hospital main priorities is to take care of patients, and very often that is said for us, for managers, the project managers as well. But again, what helps there is again very objective discussion that what will change when we implement the new way. And I think Triin and Kristin have been brilliant with that. So if those projects are over, I think no one regrets that they did it. I'm really looking forward, Jarika, that we have new projects coming, and we can participate again. I'm really glad that we have a way to support innovation in a hospital, because we do not have this ongoing public funding for innovation actions in a hospital, at least not right now. And like I said, I will just briefly tell about the Horizon projects. You can just read it if you want. I will not talk about in detail about every one of those. The struggles there again are that since we do not have experience of coordinating any of Europe Horizon Europe projects, we do not we are asked to join the consortium. At that point, we are not choosing where we want to go. So very often, somehow we are asked to join, and someone who thinks that it's important to go says that we should go, we have to go, but we sometimes say that yes, very, very fast. So we have not kind of briefed the other departments who actually have to have a lot of workload with projects. So they do not know where we are, or what kind of workload this project will add to them. And this year it was a great shock that you all know that the success rate of Horizon Europe projects is very small, but to get 5 Horizon projects, of course we are all partners there, but still at least the first one has we have a leading role there in one work package as well. It was a very big surprise, also a shock, I would say. But again, you take it the way it is, and you deal with it. And I'm really glad to say all the projects are on already. We have great teams for them. We have already some kickoff meetings where we have had very good feedback that we are very prepared. Our clinicians are very into the action. They are really well engaged. So I'm glad. So at some point, ask me to come, or the project managers of those projects, and they will tell more about our experience with those projects. So yeah, that's pretty much it. I wanted to say that you heard the success, you heard the struggles, but I always think that if there is a wish, there is a way, and there's never enough time or too much time. It's just the way how you use your time, I would say. So that's it for me.
Thank you, Siri. Very, very thorough and insightful presentation. Do we have immediate questions from the audience? So you can either write it in the chat or raise your hand. So you can ask the question directly. In the meantime, I just wanted to congratulate Siri and the North Estonian Regional Hospital. So I very much enjoyed how you have integrated the design thinking and the design students to your processes. So one of the great examples from the world I like to often bring is what Helsinki Airport did with their Asian wing. So when they figured out that it should be quite good business to get the planes from Asia to first land in Helsinki, and then they could take a connecting flight to anywhere else in Europe. So they also put together a student team and included design students who went around in Asia to different airports to see what makes a good Asian airport. And they brought this knowledge in and designed the Asian wing so that when people land in Helsinki, they would feel that they landed somewhere at home. So it's not like a very big cultural shock. And I think this was eventually very good for their business. Of course, but the fact as well that Helsinki is one of the closer airports to Asia, at least when the Russian airspace was still open. So today, of course, it's way more difficult. So congrats on that, and then also congratulations on the Horizon projects. I think what we have seen, at least, is that they bring a lot of best practices to the organizations, and exchanging and thinking about things together is actually a very good way how to go forward. So there are a lot of good examples that can be used in Estonia and perhaps also in your hospital. So do we have any comments or questions to Siri? If not, then thank you again, and we would carry on with Kalevi. Kalevi, are you with us?
Yes, I'm here. Good morning, Sven. Nice to see you.
Great to have you with us, Kalevi. Just a couple of words. So Kalevi has been our mentor in the EIT Health program for years now, and we had really good collaboration with him. So he brings a lot of knowledge from the Oulu health system, and really happy to have you here today to open up a little bit the Finnish case for us. Do you also want to show some slides?
Yes, I have it. Maybe I can share my screen.
Yes. Do you have the share screen button? Can you see this?
Yes. I think
Good.
that should be coming now.
Yes, we can see your slides, and can you make it full screen as well?
Let's see how it works. It's sometimes slow. But anyhow, okay. Now I think it should be on the presentations mode. Okay. Okay. So happy to be. Thank you for this opportunity, and happy to be with you in this morning. And why I have this kind of topic here, I think Pauliina, she will lately tell, after my presentation, tell a little bit about this real innovation work in our university hospital, what she has done for a couple of years, and I think you can hear more details about that from her presentation. But I wanted to raise up this, what is happening in Finland currently, because I think this is something which is really a game changer here in Finland regarding all the innovations in healthcare, and also how eventually organizations or companies willing to look for the Finnish market. I think this is important to understand that where we are now. So we are reforming the healthcare in Finland. That is happening now very, very rapidly. And currently we are municipality-based healthcare system, and about 300 municipalities taking care of our healthcare, especially primary healthcare is in charge of, even on the operational level, by the municipalities, but also the specialized care is carried out in that way that they are basically financing the specialized care. And social care is completely based on the municipality operations. In health, we are doing still quite well. Our expenditure in healthcare is about just above 9%. It's rising, and this is the reason. We are less here in Finland, and we are getting gray. That is happening very rapidly. So the costs during the last decade have been raising, and we are seeing that during this coming 10-15 years, that trend will continue very strongly. But making the healthcare reform is not very easy. This has been tried by, I think, by 4 different governments in Finland, started already 2012 with basically with different kind of political motivations. And I would say that our current government, which is still for the next April elections in charge of these organizations, they finally got it into the end. But as said, it's been very difficult reform. Everyone understands that this is needed, but due to different kind of political issues mainly, it has failed several times. We have had many good trials here and many good proposals, but somehow everyone crashed in due one or another reason. But we got the legislation in place finally. There was a political agreement that we will have a new system, and the law was adopted by our parliament in June 21. And that led to that we will have now in the beginning of next year 22 well-being service counties responsible for all healthcare, all social welfare, and also rescues. So this is what we are now doing. We are integrating the healthcare so that we will have this old traditional specialized care, primary healthcare, all in one organization. That organization will also include social welfare, which is, I think, a big step forward. It's really taking the persons and the patients as one person, as a whole person. And when we have these operations running, then I'm sure we will see the benefits how this is done. Rescue services are, of course, there is this ambulance has always been there. It's very close to our healthcare, but also the fire brigades, etc., are now included into that. And that's also something, but that has definitely not it's not so huge task as this healthcare and social welfare integration. And what happens from, I would say 200 different operations, these municipalities have been operating jointly, so we have about 200 different operations, organizations operating here currently, and 22 healthcare districts. We will go to 21 plus Helsinki regions. Helsinki is staying as it is. It's about almost more than 500,000 people itself. So it will continue as it is, but the other part of the country will go to these healthcare regions. And that process is ongoing, as said, and I will tell a little bit more about that. Which services then will be taking, I would say, primary healthcare, specialized healthcare, dental care, mental care, but also maternity and child health clinics, which has been earlier by the municipalities, but also social work, housing services, home care, rehabilitation, services for people with different, for instance, alcohol problems, etc. So it's a complete mix of social and healthcare operations. You understand that this is a big change. These have been very different organizations earlier, but now they are put under the same roof. And the calendar is so that we got elections on March this year, and now there is new organizations. These organizations will have financing from the central government. So central government is taking about 60% of the municipal taxes to government, and she will distribute it then to the healthcare regions back. So that is also a big change here. So not any more regional money guiding the services. Today it's the central government having the money and giving it to according to law to these regions. What will happen in the future, we don't know. But there has been a strong discussion about the regional tax and coming back to so closer to the regional funding. But decisions are not made, and I will be definitely a big political debate. In our region, in Oulu region, we have 6 municipalities now going to under the one county. The governed by the politically selected regional county council is happening already. All the people have been selected, and now they are working with new service and care plan. I think this is important to understand, that we are now making a new way of offering these services. And to be short, I think digital and remote care will be one of the keywords here. And of course, it has a lot of place for innovations. I will jump that over, but if you think about the innovation environment, I think this is basically IT sector slide, but you can see that there will be a generation change for electronic health records required. There will be a lot of digital services, new digital services in the future. And from data to information, ideology is taking into use. What is challenging is, of course, that budget is always a challenge. We have new governing structures. The reform is huge, and the first years will be survival. How to continue in this. But just finally, we have 78 days to start. These organizations will spend 22 billion in a year. About 170,000 people will have a new logo in their paycheck. So this is a huge change. But at the same time, if you look more for the coming years, this is a big opportunity for innovations also. But as said, a lot of uncertainties, a lot of question marks how the innovation organizations will fit into this, and that will show. But I'm sure there is a place and need for innovation. Thank you.
Thank you, Kalevi. A very nice insight. Do you have any questions for Kalevi at this stage? I don't have anything in the chat, I think. Please raise your hand if you want to ask a question. There seems to be none. So very thanks for this overview, Kalevi, and was in a way very sobering to see the process that you've been going through. So with different conflicts arising here and there, and then I also enjoyed the expectation management that the first year is the survival. So this is really a huge change that you're going through, and I really hope that works. So there's a lot to learn from you also here in Estonia, I think.
Yeah, and I can say we have, for instance, our region, I saw beginning of this month, first procurement on digital services is out. So now it starts.
Great. That's really great.
Thank you.
Thank you, Kalevi. Next up, we have Pauliina Hürgas. So she could not be with us today, but she has recorded her presentation, and we will show you the recording now. But this also means that there's unfortunately no chance to ask or comment anything. But hopefully she has her contacts there, so we can help you to reach out to her in case you need. So please, Triin, can you play the video? Thank you.
Hi everyone. I'm Pauliina Hürgas from Oulu, Finland, and I'm very glad to be able to share with you some findings from the development of Finnish social and healthcare innovation activities from the perspective of Oulu area of North Ostrobothnia Wellbeing Services County perspective, and also from the perspective of Oulu University Hospital, which is my home organization. At first, some things about my background, so you know who I am. I am an innovation coordinator of the Oulu University Hospital, and now also of the North Ostrobothnia Wellbeing Services County. I've been working in this organization since 2016, as I started as a project manager in a project called EIT, University Hospitals as Innovation Platforms project. And that project also started the development of innovation activities in Oulu University Hospital and in North Ostrobothnia Hospital District. I'm also the lead developer of social and healthcare innovation and co-creation activities of North Ostrobothnia Wellbeing Services County, and the developer and coordinator of Finnish National Innovation and Strategy Network. I tell you more about that in a minute. I have also done research about these topics. I'm very interested in the leadership of public social and healthcare innovation activities, and I have ongoing dissertation work, which has a headline enabling and managing or leading innovation activities in a public university hospital. As you may know, in Finland we are ongoing very fast change. This time is very challenging and also motivating from the perspective of developer. 22 well-being service counties responsible for all healthcare, social welfare and rescue services will be operational in January 2023. So we are preparing to that change very fast right now. The background of this change is, of course, that the social and healthcare system faces major challenges all around the world, but also in Oulu and in Finland. An aging population, retirement of the workforce, the complex and multiple demands for high quality care, cost effectiveness of services, and so on. And the constant change in economic, in politics, in technological manners. And in Finland, additional challenges are also caused by, for example, uneven economic, social, and regional development, and the fact that economic resources are not growing at the same pace as the need for services. So we need to constantly create and adopt new, also innovative solutions. But as we all know, agile development and flow of information in social and healthcare might be hampered by the extreme complexity of the context. Traditional structures, hierarchies, bureaucracies, and the fact that we have a lack of scientific and practical expertise in appropriate ways to lead innovation activities in the public, social, and healthcare context. So we need suitable practices, new ways of working, new models for innovation activities in public, social, and healthcare. And this is a challenge I have wanted to take myself personally to my practical work and my research. And here you can see a couple of publications we have already published during the journey when we have developed these new innovation activities in Oulu University Hospital and in Oulu area and nationally in Finland. From my perspective, the journey begins from the university hospitals as innovation platforms, USI project, as I already told you. It was conducted 2016 to 2017, so it was a year-long project where we had partners from 2 cities, from Oulu and Turku, and Turku Science Park was the coordinator in this project. And our main objective was to develop an operational model to co-create new innovations from hospital needs. And this was quite new then, maybe even now. It's quite new how to involve healthcare, social and healthcare professionals, customers, and other stakeholders as companies, scientific institutions, and so on. So we took that job and started to develop new kind of model, and also we piloted it during the project year. And we did some research also with the research question how organizations in the healthcare context experiment with and learn from collaborative innovation. And these are a couple of findings we had. So the success in implementing the innovation process requires careful preparation, sector-specific knowledge, and active efforts throughout the whole process. And this was actually the point I started to realize that my background, which also actually includes being a healthcare professional myself. I am a biomedical laboratory scientist, and I have worked in the healthcare field for several years. It was very handy, very useful, and important because I understood that I'm able to communicate with the healthcare professionals with the same language, and I understood the rules and restrictions, for example, of the field. So the suitable ways to conduct innovation activities started to grow. We also found that a uniform approach to innovation development will really improve organizations' internal practices in hospitals, in healthcare organizations. The work, also development work, has traditionally been conducted in kind of silos and separate, and these uniform practices will help everyone to know their role and opportunities, also those restrictions in the development work. But then very important thing also came out. Co-creation allows different professionals and different stakeholders, for example, our customers, to work on the same goals, which strengthens multi-professional cooperation and collaboration, but also the sense of involvement and empowerment in healthcare organizations, but also in stakeholder groups. And I'm happy to inform that this work really was a success. The old practices we had before this project was kind of a slow and stiff, and we got also a couple of development needs and ideas from our professionals per year then. But after the new practices were implemented, we had as you can see from the picture from the right, over 1,000 ideas and development needs from our customers and professionals in 2 first years with the new practices. So everything changed very greatly. And this is actually the EIT model for co-creation with companies and research institutes we created in the project. If you want to read more, there is a collaborative innovation in healthcare, a case study of hospitals as innovation platforms publication, which you can Google from internet if you like. But then after the EIT project and the great success, we have further developed and spread the new practices for wider and wider area in Oulu, starting from the innovation ecosystem, Oulu Health and Oulu Innovation Alliance, and then starting to spread the model also to a regional level, to the use of North Ostrobothnia Wellbeing Services County. So the common co-creation model for the whole county has been created in 2017 to 2021, and we are now implementing it. And we aim to enable and enhance stronger cooperation as well as involvement of all stakeholders in the development of social and healthcare services at the North Ostrobothnia Wellbeing Services County. And the model describes those uniform practices I was mentioning to continuously and systematically lead, manage, and coordinate, as well as enable and support innovation co-creation activities of the county and its stakeholders. And also we have described and spread to the whole county continuous support provided to all stakeholders participating and involved in co-creation activities of ours. We have enabling roles, innovation network involving key representatives of different areas, services, RDA organizations. Then we have enabling tools. This I'm very proud of also. We have a common electronic co-creation platform of the county's organization and its stakeholders. And then we have enabling services. For example, all health labs, testing and co-creation platforms and test beds. Here you can see the main principles of our uniform practices. From the left, you can see that all stakeholders are involved to share their ideas, development needs, good practices, and so on. And they express those in the common electronic idea management platform, which has supporting functions for every phase of the innovation processes. Personnel and management are really the executors and managers of those processes. We are involving and empowering them to do the work. But as you can see below, we have innovation coordinators and ambassadors for continuous support, maintenance, and development of innovation activities, and also those RDA services in the ecosystem, cooperation, research, procurement services, etc. And here are the enabling roles. We have steering group to manage the whole activities, to steer them, to enable them, for example, with the sufficient resources. Then the coordination, which is responsible about the whole county's activities, development and maintenance, and so on. And then we have contact persons in every stakeholder organization and in every service areas and different areas in North Ostrobothnia. And the innovation ambassadors are the professionals most interested in innovation and development activities, who we are now empowering to get even more involved in the co-creation of new services and innovations. And here is a bit more about the county's common co-creation supporting electronic platform. It enables documenting, facilitating development processes, as I said, in every phase of the processes and in collaboration with all necessary experts. It provides a time and place independent virtual channel for all stakeholders to participate, which is quite great when we talk about healthcare organizations, hard to involve in every minute, every hour from the core functions, you know. It supports more uniform development, deployment of services, and also enables the agile sharing of good practices and development solutions for the common use of the whole county. Here are some findings from my second publication of dissertation, Factors Enabling Innovation Activities in Public University Hospital. I just briefly described that I found that those unified practices, adequate authorization, supportive culture, and also expertise in innovation management were the generic categories found from this research. There is some examples of ongoing and successful co-creation in Oulu. You can get familiar with these if you want. There are quite interesting and great innovations already generated. And also we have conducted idea challenges, for example, for professionals of ours and for children and youth to collaborate with us to get involved in our activities. And last but not least, I would like to give you advertisement of the Social and Healthcare Innovation and Strategy Network, which is a national network in Finland. It's quite new. We started from actually my and National Inno Village team's ideas in 2020. And we started this kind of networking to build this network to share good practices, to solve common challenges through cooperation, to improve social and healthcare capacity for innovation, and to prevent duplication of development. So the network tries to tackle those common hindrances we have in social and healthcare, and it involves all the stakeholders in every sector. Everyone can be part of this activities, and it has been already quite popular. We have about 300 professionals, experts from different service fields, different sectors involved, and we have quite good communication going on in our events. Thank you very much. And if you want to hear more about these things, I would be very happy to get in touch, and hope also to see you in a live mode sometime. Thank you very much, and have a good day.
So still many thanks to Pauliina, although she could not be with us today. If you have any questions, her email was at the end of the presentation, so you can write her directly, or you can reach out to me or Maris, and we can forward your question. So going forward from here, we have Iris with us today. We know Iris a long time already through the Scanbout network. She's here to talk about what's happening in Göteborg and in Sweden. So Iris, please, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much. You can hear me well, correct?
Yes, we can hear you well.
Okay, I will try to share just a minute. And I hope you see the slide as well.
Yes, and also now in full screen. Thank you.
So, perfect, just a minute. Yeah, so thank you very much for having me here. And before I start, let me give you some background about myself. I think it could be kind of a little different presentation. I'm actually coming from an organization that has focused on industry. So I am working for Business Region Göteborg, which is a company owned by the city. We are a public organization, but we are in charge only mainly of industry development. We are also the cluster or organization in West Sweden. We have all ownership in all our different science parks, including also the life science park. But because we are so public and we are the city, of course, we also work very closely to the healthcare sector and especially to the care that is provided by the municipality. And I will explain why very soon now. And my specific position at the company is that I am in charge of foreign direct investments and investment promotion, meaning that I support and help foreign companies within life sciences which are interested in entering the Swedish healthcare market, and specifically the Gothenburg and the West Swedish healthcare market. So in that regard, my work is to be informed and work very closely to the healthcare organizations here, and then try to communicate what is going on to the different companies from outside of Sweden. So that's the background. And just here, I know that you might know of course, a lot about Sweden, but just very shortly to summarize, we have over 10 million people, soon 11 million. And we are, of course, members of the European Union, even though we don't have euro in Sweden, we have Swedish crowns. So this is among the Nordic countries. Of course, we are the largest country, but also have the largest healthcare market. And we are a small country if you compare, of course, with all other countries in the world. And that's why even though our market is relatively big as compared to the Nordic and Baltic region, you can say that Sweden has a small healthcare market, and that's why we are a very export and trade dependent country. So many of the things within healthcare that we do and produce in Sweden are primarily for the international market. This is just to give you a very, general background. Then when we talk about the healthcare sector, it is important to understand the following, because I know there are differences between the different Nordic and Baltic countries. In Sweden, we have a very decentralized healthcare system, meaning that the different county councils are in charge of funding and providing the healthcare. We have, of course, the government, but they are primarily in charge of policies, supervision, evaluation, some kind of innovation activities, coordination, but the government don't really support, pay, or provide the healthcare sector. This is something that is at the very local level. So, and that's something that makes that in Sweden, even though we are working and the government has had a lot of efforts in this kind of coordination of the decentralized system that we have, still companies that many people can experience that you can do or implement some things in a hospital in a specific county council, and the situation might not be the same, for instance, in Stockholm versus Gothenburg. So there are, as a whole, we have universal health care. Everybody has the right to the same kind of services, but there are slight differences between the healthcare that is provided in the different county councils, especially if you are coming from a county council that is not, related to the main cities, Stockholm, Gothenburg, and Malmö. So the Other thing that is important is that the county council, it's very much about primary care and about specialized care, emergency care. But when we talk about the care of the disabled people, the care of the elderly, the care that children get at school, then it is the municipalities. We have the responsibility. And then in Sweden, we have 290 municipalities. So here you see even more decentralization. Most of the innovation activities today are concentrated in primary care and hospitals. I would say that the municipalities that are not really providing health care to the elderly population, they are primarily focusing on care, on prevention, of making sure that people can live an independent life, even though you will see in the next slide that there is a move from, the services that are provided within the hospital that are moving more and more to home care. And then it's a responsibility of the municipality, which has home care, home services, and elderly care. So there have happened a lot of things in Sweden during the last, I would say, 15 years. We are one of the countries that are spending more and more on healthcare. If you look to our GDP, in Sweden, as I said, the healthcare is public, the healthcare is holistic, everybody has right to it, but also we spend a lot of money on that. So in order, we have right now a shortage of doctors, and we have a shortage of nurses, of course, and we have also a strategy to kind of reduce the very long waiting times that we have in Sweden, especially for specialized care. So the government initiated a few reforms several years ago. One was first related to the pharmacy sector, meaning that we had before kind of a monopoly in Sweden, in which we have a very large government-owned pharmacy chain called Apotek. Now, several years ago, like in 2010, we opened that market and allowed for more privatization. So now in Sweden, we have many different small private-owned pharmacy chains. So that's something that has, changed in that sector. We have also, I would say 99% e-receipts, meaning that people here, when they go to the doctor, you never get like a, paper with what you need to have as a medicine or as a drug. Everything is sent directly to the pharmacy. Another thing is that there is a strategy in the hospital for reducing the number of hospital beds. Sweden has right now one of the lowest numbers in EU, but I think that the strategy is to reduce it even more, and it's especially because of the cost associated to it, and also, as I said, the lack of resources that we have at the moment. So there is a move from inpatient to outpatient. We will see more in the future, as I said before, a lot of patients actually being sent home quicker, and for that we need to work closely with the municipalities in charge of home care. And the situation right now is that, of course, because we have several university hospitals that are providing them specialized care, you would see that the level of skills with regard to healthcare that you find within the hospital, within a university hospital, within the county councils, and the primary care is not exactly the same as the one you see within the municipality, because the people working with home care, home services, and so on usually don't have that, I would say, high level of education within that field. So I think that's something that the government in Sweden after COVID is now putting a lot of efforts to improve, I would say, the skills within the municipalities, especially with focus on elderly care, as people also want to stay at home. So it is not only that the healthcare wants to focus more on outpatient care, it's also that the people right now, perhaps they retire when they are 67, 69, they are still, you know, they can manage themselves and are relatively in good shape, so they want to receive most of the services at home, actually, rather than at elderly care facilities. So we also see in Sweden a lot of specialization, regionalization, and concentration of services within the healthcare, meaning that, for instance, in Gothenburg, we have one of the largest hospitals in northern Europe, which is the Sahlgrenska University Hospital, and they are also in charge of providing nationally a specific kind of specialized services. In this case, is very much about transplantation and pediatric surgery. Yeah, so if we continue, as I said, on one hand, healthcare in Sweden, it's expensive, and a lot of our GDP goes to that. I think it's approximately 10%, 11% of our GDP goes to the provision of healthcare. But on the other hand, the Swedish government is one of its #1 in Europe with regard to putting funding into R&D and in innovation. So actually over 3% of our country's GDP are spent into R&D. And of that amount, we could say that approximately 30% go to healthcare and life sciences. Even when you look at the budget that the universities have, most of the R&D grants goes actually to healthcare and life sciences. The budget for R&D in areas such as healthcare has been increased steadily year after year. Right now, there is a lot of focus on personalized medicine, digitalization, ATMP, or what we can call cell therapy, regenerative medicine, cancer treatment. So there are a lot of focus on these areas that in Sweden, you will also find many of the new companies, many of the new startups actually working in oncology, CNS, personalized medicine, digital health, including AI. So one of the organizations in Sweden that has the specific focus of directly providing funding for innovation is Vinnova, which is the Swedish innovation agency. They have approximately 200 employees and has a budget of about 3 million euro per year only for R&D. And I would like to highlight 2 specific projects that they have, and they have created what they call a strategic life science funding programs. In this case, one is Sweet Life. So Sweet Life and MedTech for Health, they are different. So even though both of them are targeting healthcare and life sciences, and even though both of them have focused on what we call here triple helix and collaboration, meaning that the Swedish government wants to see in most of the R&D projects that are funded, there is a kind of requirement that it has to be a collaboration between an SME, a representative from the hospital, and or the academia. So we really want to ensure from the beginning that triple helix collaboration. In the case of MedTech for Health, they have more focus on medical devices. And again, you need to, and it's also very much focused on patient-centric products. That's why they usually need to collaborate with some key opinion leader or somebody from the hospital. In the case of Sweet Life, they are also targeting a specific, what we call areas of a strategy in Sweden. It could be personalized medicine, it could be oncology. So Sweet Life to me has a broader character, and it's kind of a bigger program within a national strategy. Both of these programs are funding companies working in collaboration with others, but perhaps MedTech for Health has more focus on the company itself, on the company growth, on facilitating for the company to actually be able to commercialize that product. While in the case of Sweet Life, perhaps it's more focused on trying to solve a specific challenges within the public health care system. So these are the ones that are now active and that are very much focused on life sciences, apart, of course, from the fact that the universities and companies can also get funding from other national programs for life sciences. So something that Sweden has been doing during the last, I would say, 8 years is to create, so because of the centralization that we have, as I said, with county councils, municipalities, and the government's, I would say, challenges of reaching everybody, one thing that has proven quite effective in Sweden is to create national infrastructure platforms. They are national, but then they have nodes or small sites in different regions. So if you look at the picture where it says Clinical Studies Sweden, this national infrastructure is for the coordination of clinical research and clinical trials in Sweden, most of it actually happening either at the universities or at the university hospitals. But as you see in the picture, they have an office or a site in the north of Sweden. They have something in the west, which is called Gothia Forum. They have something in Malmö in the south that is called Forum South, and so on. So everybody will have kind of a local presence, a local reach, in a hands-on approach, but they will be nationally coordinated. And they are organizing regions. So we don't have 21 nodes, you know, for the 21 county councils. In this case, we have 6. And then each one of them take part of a region or different county councils in Sweden. That's a way that we started to use with this Clinical Studies Sweden, and then that we are also now applying in our last national infrastructure called AI Sweden, which is our National Center for Artificial Intelligence. Both Clinical Studies Sweden and AI Sweden have their national coordination office in Gothenburg, but still, as I said, there are they need to serve the whole Sweden through working with the different regional offices. In the case of AI Sweden, it is also like that the focus for AI Sweden is not only healthcare, even though healthcare has a very big part. This is very much about a big data factory in which both the public sector and the private sector will put data into a very big factory and will allow for organizations, both public and private, to perform research on that data and to kind of extract new insights. Another thing that this AI Sweden work very much is with everything that is related to legal aspects surrounded AI, things like safety, data sharing, cybersecurity, all of the things that we believe in Sweden needs to happen at the national level, even though there are, as I said, regional offices. And then we have RISE, which is the Swedish Research Institute. It also has its headquarters in Gothenburg, but the 3,000 employees are located all around the country. Then they might have in a region like, say, Gothenburg, there is a lot of focus on ATMP and cell exotherapy, while perhaps in other regions like Stockholm, there is more focus on bioprocessing and biomanufacturing, just to say an example. So we try to work nationally, but still try to keep some local competencies and try to work locally for have higher reach to the different stakeholders. So if we can summarize what is going on in the healthcare system in Sweden, before I go to specific examples of how we do it today, you can say that, you find all these wordings when you look at all our reports, all our events. When we talk about healthcare, we say we want to have a healthcare that is more patient-centric, that is more predictive, preventive, participatory, in which patients are involved from the beginning, not only as the ones that receive the care, but also as the one that can design together with them, academia and the hospitals, the care that they want to receive. There is also this focus on self-care, and I see some kind of move. It might be liberal view to healthcare, but some kind of view that is not like the government needs to be, patronizing and responsible of all the healthcare. There is now, we see more focus put into the patient itself and yourself, care, that you are also responsible for making sure you live a healthy life. And for that, we have seen an increase of digital health solutions, apps, and so on. We also see that the patient is more participatory because we have internet and people have, high skills in Sweden. We see that when a patient goes to the doctor, they already are very informed about the disease that they believe they might have. And then it's not just, doctor, tell me what you think about. It's more kind of a dialogue, because also, as we know, the patients have much more data and much more information about themselves that the healthcare might have. And in areas such as diabetes and other chronic diseases, we have something in Sweden called super pacienter, or you could call super patients, which are patients that are very involved at the political level with regard to healthcare, actually pushing for having more influence because they believe they have a lot of data and know much more about their chronic diseases than a doctor that might see them, 6 times per year knows. And so that's an aspect, this patient-centric care. The other aspect is more related to the way we deliver the healthcare. In Sweden, we need to reduce costs. And for that, we put focus on prevention. We want to have cost effective. So meaning that we need, there is a lot of focus on evidence-based. The products that we implement, but also the services that we implement during the healthcare needs to be really supported by evidence. That's why there are a lot of focus, as you will see later on test beds, on having pre-marketing validation studies, opening the healthcare and the facilities for the hospital so they can be able to co-create and work together with the doctors, so that's to create that evidence. Then sustainability is something that is coming in more and more. I have my last slide is about it, so I will touch it very little because it's very new in Sweden. And then, of course, another thing is that the healthcare sector is 90% public, but we see that the healthcare that is delivered by the private sector is increasing very much. Because of a lack of resources in the public sector, it means that we actually, and because we have more liberalization, as I said, of the healthcare sector. So we see, especially within the home care, home services, I would say the majority of the services in some county councils are provided by private healthcare providers. And then in the case of the public, we have sometimes something called rental doctors, meaning that we have doctors employees at the hospital, but we have also doctors that can, put some time into providing the service in a private hospital or, so we see more this kind of public-private integration in the way the service is delivered. But as I said, especially within elderly care and home care. And then the focus for the future in Sweden, as I said before, is precision, medicine, more digital data, more trying to, and when I see digital data, because there is this decentralization, of course, there is a challenge because it might be that the different county councils and the different hospitals and the municipalities do not have the same, a specific same IT system. So there are questions about interoperability and connectivity, and that's something that I think I heard the other day, a new large system is coming, allowing the municipalities and the county council to have at least some joint IT platforms. And with that, of course, this will open the door for more use of AI and automation. Yeah. So I will now focus, when giving some examples of what we are doing, I will focus on West Sweden because it's where I am located. And as I said, we have a lot of focus on, hands-on what is going on here. So as I said, the Sahlgrenska University Hospital is one of the largest hospitals in Northern Europe. It has 2,300 beds and 17,000 employees. The Sahlgrenska University Hospital is also a system of 3 hospitals associated with the Faculty of Biology at Gothenburg University. Apart from that, in West Sweden, we have in total 17 hospitals. But as I said, the Sahlgrenska University Hospital is the largest one. It is also a national center for heart surgery and transplantation. So it is not only serving the 1.2, 1.3 million people in West Sweden, it's actually serving 1.8 million inhabitants in Sweden, okay, for certain specific areas. And with regard to clinical research, clinical trials, it is number 1 in Sweden. And might be why, as I said, the clinical trial national, the clinical research or organization also has his national office or headquarters here, because actually everything is spin out in the beginning from the Sahlgrenska University Hospital. They were like a very good test bed for how to work with this clinical trial, clinical research, and this model expanded into the national infrastructure that it is today. Because it is a university hospital, it has of course a lot of associated professors. Right now in West Sweden, the county council is in charge of provision of healthcare, something related to transportation, culture, and actually 90% of the overall budget of the county council, Västra Götaland region, goes to the healthcare. So it gives you an indication of how important healthcare is for West Sweden and for the county council, that 90% of the budget goes to healthcare, and the majority of it go to staff. Actually, over 70% go to staff. And then we have 45,000 people in general working in the healthcare in the region. So those are some kind of test beds or platforms that we have in the region. So one is PICTA. It has a lot of focus on pre-hospitality. I was talking about trying to keep people outside of the hospital if possible, if they don't need to be there. And one way of doing it is actually to target the problem where it happens by the use of digital solutions. So everything that is related to pre-hospital care could be the care that is provided at the ambulance, or if there is an accident at the time when it happens. It's everything related to that. It could be fall prevention and so on, is a responsibility of this platform called PICTA, and it's a public-private collaboration platform. Then Good Health Forum is located within the hospital, is a department of the county council, but they are only working with clinical trial, clinical research, meaning that they are the first point of contact for everybody, academia or company, wanted to perform clinical trials, clinical research in any of the hospitals within West Sweden. So because we have public system here and there are some laws and we have procurement and so on, I cannot say that the companies can just, talk directly that way with the representatives from the hospital. So actually what happens is that we have some organizations that interface between companies and the healthcare, and one of them is Gutia Forum. So if a company wants to perform clinical trials, want to identify a key opinion leader, wants to know which department is working with the specific scene because they need to do a validation, a test, or get information, then they contact Gutia Forum. They also work with health economics and support the companies with regulatory matters. Another one very similar is Innovation Platform, but Innovation Platform, I would say, has more focus on medtech, not so much on trials involving patients, because in the case of Gutia Forum, they also have a clinical trial center, and they are also in charge of the biobank samples in West Sweden. But in the case of Innovation Platform, I would say it's more focused on methodology, it's more focused on implementation of medtech, is when you want to know the hospital's workflow and how your product can be implemented within the hospital. Innovation Platform can also support by finding the information, by finding the right people, and by making sure that you can validate your products within the hospital, but they don't have the focus patient or patient data. On the other hand, Innovation Platform has now a new fund, very interested. It started like 4 years ago. We have seen that a lot of the innovation, or we see that there is a lot of innovation actually coming from the staff within the hospital. So we don't only want to, start from academia, startup, then test within the hospital, and then it might be at the end of the day that the hospital is not interested in that product because that product might be the result of a research project and not really of a clear need. So in that regard, the focus of this fund that Innovation Platform is managing every year is to identify innovations coming from the staff itself. People is working with the medtech, people is working with the products, and they realize that things should be in another way. And then they provide funding to these people so they can verify the idea, file a patent, develop a prototype, and so on. So this is a very appreciated program, especially because it increased the innovation capacity of the healthcare providers and the staff. Another one very interested is All Age Hub. Here, this is actually from the municipality. This is very new. It's one of the only one we actually have in trying to promote innovation within the municipalities with focus on elderly care, home care, and home service. And in this case, it's also a different thing that is related to Innovation Platform, but here is different. Here it is not like, let me see whether the staff has an idea. Here is more, let me see the needs that the municipalities and the elderly care facilities have, and then I will go out to the market with the needs and identify companies that might have products matching that need. And then we open our sites for the companies in order to test and validate it. We don't promise that we are going to buy those products or procure those products, but this is a way for the municipality to also, know that there is a solution, and for the companies to validate those solutions with the final user, especially when there is a clear need, something that we don't see in all cases when we work with startups, that there is a lack of what is the real need from the hospital. So, yes.
Iris, apologies. Just perhaps this is already your last slide or so, but
yes,
we're a little bit cautious of time. So
it is the last one. Yes.
Okay, thank you. Yes.
Yeah. So it is like that. Apart from I mentioned from the ESO hospital, I just want to mention that there is also another. There are many organizations in the region that are trying to provide funding and to make sure that the ideas coming from the hospital, but also the ideas coming from the academia and the companies are verified, but are also very much integrated into the strategy that we have in Sweden, but also the strategy that we have in Europe. So we are very much connected to European Commission via the Enterprise Euro network, EIT Health, but also the EIC accelerator. So that was it. I hope I said it would be a little bit different, but I hope you got the point, and we'll.
Yes, thank you. Thank you, Iris.
Thank you.
Do we have any quick questions to Iris? Alternatively, you can also ask those during the panel. I don't see anything in the chat at this stage, and there are no hands up, so I would actually give word to Jaanus now. He will moderate the panel where we have Kalevi, Iris, and also Siri. Do we have everyone here?
Yep, we are here.
Hi everyone, it's Jaanus Pikani here. Nice to see everybody, and thank you to all the speakers. I think this has been excellent insight on different levels to the innovation in healthcare. Do we have Siri also here? I don't see it.
Yeah, I'm here.
Yeah, okay, good, thank you. So we have now perhaps more than 10 minutes, what is until the end of our planned completion of our today's meeting. So perhaps we take as long as needed, but perhaps not more than half an hour. So perhaps I would start with this, that innovation is very sort of tricky term, because you can have innovation in many levels. You have innovation in the terms of when you see from the medical technology point of view, but most often this is not so much about the technology, but how to implement this innovation and what is the user experience, or how to change the practices. So just to start with, I just bring you an example, and thanks to Iris' hint, I was able to join a 3 days program organized by Health Netherlands, which was great event. And also when we were visiting Philips, there was main emphasis was that there is a lot of great technologies, but the main problem how to engage or implement those technology to the everyday clinical practice or healthcare systems is how to get this done differently from the current practice. And the main emphasis and main efforts is how to actually talk to and co-create with the stakeholders, with the clinicians, that they would like to bring it into the life. So maybe I would start with a question from the panelists to the panelists, that what do you think, is it true also from your experience? I understand some hints were already in the presentations, but maybe I will ask you, what do you think is the main question, technologies, or main question or main problem is how to implement and how to make manage the change? Maybe we can start from Siri, as you were first speaker, and then go on with Kalevi and Iris.
Yeah, thank you. Like I actually stressed in my presentation as well, we are dealing a lot about the change here, and our innovation in such is more not so much the new technologies, but the new ways of working and the changes in work practice and work flows very often. Yes, some kind of technology or small tools are integrated into that pathways, but this is at least from my point of view, it hasn't been the core of the innovation. Or the change is not the technology. So, but yeah, if you ask what's the hardest, of course, if you have good funding for pilot and you have a good a project manager for pilot, then it's easy to pilot. But the hard part is what do we do after the pilot and the funding is up, and how do we continue, and how do we build this ongoing new way how we do that. So so yeah, definitely this getting used with change is the harder part there. Not to find tools, but how to put them in the work the way that they will stay there, not only be a testing time or period.
Thank you, Siri. Kalevi, what do you think?
Okay, yeah. Siri, you mentioned these pilots, and I can say that in Finland we have had a lot of pilot ETs, if I say like that. A lot of pilots which have ended up after the project. But I think the challenge is really there, that how to get motivation on the healthcare professional level to take into the use these different new things. By meaning new things is, of course, it's partly technology. They are very keen to taking new clinical tools, robots, or new clinical devices. That's their motivation. But when we are talking about, for instance, in the change of in the care pathways, or in the change of how they offer the services, for instance, talking about these digital services, virtual services, etc., that's more challenging because it's completely new thing. And there, I think, in our region, in Oulu, we have had a big motivator. We are building a new hospital, a completely new hospital. That's been a great motivator for innovations. People are forced somehow to think also that how will our work change in the future? How we will work in the future hospital? And that has been supported by design, planning, resources. It's I think every fifth hospital worker has been involved to some of the workshops planning their future work. So that's been a great motivator, and that has led then, supported by this very strong support from the directory of the hospital, and also this new innovation system, that has led that we have a lot of activities now also in the hospital professional level to raise up different ideas, etc. So I think it's the cultural change, and that cultural change needs motivation. And in our case, it's been this new hospital, and of course, this new reform also now starting. They are big motivators for rethinking, and these opportunities should be supported then by innovation system. And this is how I see it. But of course, we should not forget existing. Professors and clinician leads, they have always been working together with industry, and I hope that these new systems will not stop that, because they have been an important resource to get industry into our healthcare and bring new ideas. So both are needed, new ways of thinking, but also please support also the existing structures.
Thank you, Kalevi. Yeah, so you brought it closer already to the industry and to the private sector and public sector cooperation. So Iris, as you are working mainly with private sector, or your work is directed to you, maybe you can then share about your views.
I think that the answer is complete. So we have been working for a long time with the private sector, but at the same time we are publicly owned, and we understand, after following the companies and the innovation system for many years, that it gets difficult for the company to implement at the end, after everything, the trials. So what we are doing now is to kind of change it, actually make sure that there is a concrete need. So, because, so kind of, and I know within the European Union, they are working with something they call assumptions. That is more how we turn it from, is there a need? Then we go and try to find, because otherwise we end supporting companies, spending a lot of funding, because on the other hand, we want to have industry development, industry as a growth, but we cannot make sure that the healthcare can implement it because it might not match a need. So that's one aspect that I think that we need to focus more on the need. And the other thing is that my understanding from the healthcare sector is, while the system and us as a clusters want to push for more medtech products, the healthcare sector itself, they say, wait a minute, I don't want new products. I just want the ones that I have to work better, or to work or to change the workflow, or to change the way we deliver it. So here we also need to find a balance, whether everything needs to be solved by new tech, or whether it's something we need to look at so closely. But it is a system change that is difficult to change, because on the other hand, we want companies to grow and to employ and to have as a regional development. So it's very difficult. I think it's a complex matter that might need to have a completely new way of to look at innovation.
Thank you. So yeah, Iris, you have been very clearly indicating what are the key words today in the Swedish sort of strategy, and maybe not only Swedish, but also around the world, that we have aging population. We are speaking more about the care integration, that this is needs to be delivered mostly outside hospitals, because a lot of chronic diseases and multiple diseases, multimorbidity actually doesn't need to be treated in hospitals. But also we have a great notions like value-based healthcare or value-based financing, bundled payments. So I see that Finland has taken a great leap to the direction of integration through these new reforms, which is clearly will be titanic work. So I see. So I've been also leading one project in Estonia where we are achieved to the same result when planning or proposing a new hospital strategy, which appeared to be more the strategy for the care integration and about the actually digitalization, plus to paying more attention to the primary healthcare and outpatient care than clearly just the hospital. But hospitals are a very important part of this. So if we think about from the side of hospitals, so what do you think what hospitals can do just to support and pursue these important goals? Because it's understandable, but we cannot actually cope with this increasing burden of diseases and financing, that we need to do something. And maybe the classical and the traditional way how we have been looking to hospitals is not working anymore in next years to come. So what do you think, what hospitals, how they should invent or innovate themselves, or do they have some leading role or actually just supporting role? What do you think? Maybe we can start now with Kalevi.
Thank you. I think definitely based on our experience from Finland, I think we have 5 university hospitals, and they all are leaders in their regions, and they lead also very much these innovation activities, but not alone. they try to connect themselves to the surrounding world, so that they connect the primary care through the cooperation with, for instance, these bigger cities. They connect themselves to industry, for instance. We try to connect SMEs and also other business area research. And this is the role where I see that university hospitals have had good results. They are more structured operators than our municipalities have been. They have more resources also, so they've been able to lead these innovation processes. And I think, looking for our future, I think we will still have these hospitals in the future systems also as some kind of home base for innovations in healthcare, although it will be regions taking or counties taking care of the service system, but still there will be a strong home base in the university hospitals. But I think it needs to be understanding in the hospital management that they need to network. They need to connect themselves outside the hospital borders, and that is the role where I see that, as I said, home base hospital will be a home base, but it's not working alone. It's connecting itself actively into the surrounding world, and there I see the opportunity for the hospitals, and that will support definitely then the whole healthcare system, innovation system, to be more effective.
Thank you very much. Siri, you are a representative of, we can say, university hospital, because North Estonia Regional Health Center is basically same as university hospital, although not directly. We can count it informally because we have only one university hospital in Estonia. But what do you think about this?
Yeah, I was thinking.
Sorry, I'm still not sure about.
Sorry, Siri thought that she has to answer you.
Too many series. Yeah. From my point of view, if I listen the Finnish and Swedish experience, then unfortunately we are way behind you. So I think we are lacking the structures in hospitals whose responsibility is to enhance and start innovation and lead it. So and again, I mentioned that again, that there's also not that kind of funding for hospitals as well. So our hospital have more than 4,000 people working, and there's only one innovation specialist who is me, which is definitely not enough. And very often I can see that these leaders of clinical units, they are overwhelmed with clinical issues, with the personnel, with new buildings, with discussions about the salary, etc., etc. So this innovation and development work is the priority number 10 for them, unfortunately, especially during the crisis years like we have had. So yeah, still we have those projects, project-based innovation. We don't have this ongoing development work, which I think is the main thing which slows down that progress here in Estonia. It's pretty much same in whole hospitals in Estonia. Some hospitals, of course, don't even have this one person whose responsibility is taking care and looking for those collaboration projects and collaboration like the firms and startups, etc., to actually be open and go around and actually look for collaboration. So yeah, I would not like to say again that it depends on the time and the main priorities what the management has in hospital, and it's still, this mindset hasn't completely changed yet, that if you are head of a big clinic, then big part of your job should be development work as well. Unfortunately, it's mostly that concerns the clinical work and personnel.
Yeah, so having being in my career the opportunities to be hospital manager in several occasions, of course, it seems that it's very much depends on the leadership in the hospitals and how they perceive this need for innovation and organizational innovation or innovation in healthcare sort of practices, and definitely it appears that also the financing of innovation activities depends what is the main agenda of the leadership and strategy. So this is true, and it seems that perhaps there is a need for inspirational activities for the hospital managers, maybe not only in Estonia but all over other places in Europe. So Iris, what do you think? Would it be, before of course asking you what your opinion is on this, but also that maybe it would be good sort of idea for a joint project, what Scanbalt can actually lead to the, and especially directed to the hospital management?
Yeah, so I need to tell you, so, you know, there is no perfect system, and I think that we need to innovate every time and put it in the context. I was yesterday at a meeting, okay, and then another country council had a similar organization for innovation testing, etc., that we have in West Sweden, and then another one had it, and then the feedback that we received from the industry was, wait a minute, I mean, do we need to test in every single? Do we need to, it's so, it made us think that perhaps we should be better at changing best practices and collaborating, like saying it is okay that some hospital or that some country takes the lead in something, and then we learn from them, because there is no time. If you think about the, you know, the lack of resources that we have in Europe with regard to, you know, medical expertise and care, there is no time. Of course, I understand it from the hospital staff point of view to have everybody involved in clinical innovation, because at the same time we need to provide care to the patient. So an idea could be that instead of everybody, you know, copying all the innovation models, etc., that we have more focus on some do and we share and learn. So more coordination, more collaborations in the Nordics, in the Baltics to start with. It's what I also believe, because I think that the system has no money and not personnel to be able to, you know, work deep with innovation at all university hospitals and all country councils and all countries. It's not doable. I don't believe it's easy in reality.
Yeah, so I'm just listening to today's first speaker from our health insurance fund, or how we call it. It's a health fund, not health insurance fund anymore. So I got the same idea that, of thinking that some of the solutions what we actually pursuing in Estonia are already existing and in practice and have been checked in other countries, be it the Netherlands or Basque Country or Catalonia or Sweden. So perhaps we need more just communication. Of course, I understand that each funding organization will make the decisions, but what kind of services and what kind of models they want to use. So it seems that we need more actually networking and communication and transfer of information and practices in Europe. So yeah, that's why my very simple question would be maybe to all of you, that if Scanvalt now would take a lead to look for maybe such project consortium and to the funding from Europeans, would you be interested to participate in this type of endeavor? Let's start from Kalevi.
Okay. So yes, I think there is, as I said, there is a need for the change of ideas and experiences, and also I think what you raised up here was also this development of the thinking of the management. So I had the opportunity to meet Uppsala Akademiska development manager a couple of years ago, and he told that Uppsala Akademiska had 4 points in their strategy, and one was innovation. So there it was really raised up as an important issue, and this I hope we can see also elsewhere, so that we have the challenges with lack of resources, both money and people, and without innovative solutions we cannot cope, and that's a new challenge for our management. In many cases they have been leading a clinical system, but clinical system haven't been very much working with innovations, but they need to have a cultural change on their clinical system to think that innovation and development is also part of their activity, and there the cooperation and sharing of experience will definitely support also the management of the hospital. So I think there is a good idea, and I'm sure we can find out cooperation here.
Thank you. And Siri?
Yeah, I mentioned in my presentation as well that innovation and development is mentioned very often in our strategic plans, but I really often have this feeling that those who wrote that there don't really realize the amount of work which is behind it. So I think the simple example is that if you say innovation, then people have idea of totally different things. So it's just to define what is innovation is already a challenge there. So sometimes this word is kind of overused without actually having like really clear understanding of the goals we will have. So yeah, maybe we would like to learn from Nordic countries, for example, how to create the strategic plans which actually lead us, which actually help us to make the first step, the second step. So yeah, for collaboration in that field, we are very open to that.
Thank you. And Iris, maybe we have your views.
I cannot talk for the hospitals because I am in the industry part, but I can say something. I was discussing with the Swedish Municipalities and County Councils Agency the other day a new Nordic project that we are going to run with focus on sustainable healthcare. And I learned 2 things. And they say, you know, we are saying that people from the hospitals, okay, they don't usually have a lot of time and they don't want to involve in innovation, blah, blah, except for the people as you that are employed for it, okay? But for the project to, you know, to be executed, we really need people from the management from the hospital to be involved, okay? And then they say, how do we get those people to be part of the new project that we want to do with focus on sustainable healthcare? And then we end it in the following. That's what I'm saying, because the challenge that I had here is to actually reach to the people that we are talking about and get them to spend the time in our projects, okay? And we end it in the following. We need really to figure out, we really need to talk to the, you know, to the ones that we are referring to and figure out what is going on, what they are engaged in at the moment, and what they are missing when we can make a contribution. Because otherwise, the challenge that we have today is to get the people from the hospital. And I'm not saying now the innovation people that already know what we want to do. I'm saying about the people that we want to get committed, to get them to be involved and spend the time in a workshop. You know, we really need to understand what they need from us and how we can contribute, because otherwise it's difficult. It's just reality. It's not that I'm not saying that we don't want to share best practices. I'm saying that for me to get the people from the hospital to share best practices, the people from operation, the people working with it, we need to really talk to them and understand what do you need in your work and how can we contribute so you don't feel that you need to spend time on helping in our project. Very not political correct answer to you.
Yeah, but I think it's, you said that if you have some ideas, you need to actually make the idea actually win supporters and make this interesting for the actually ecosystem and your partners who you want to involve.
Exactly.
If they don't see the needs and the benefit for them, then or that they understand that this is something for common benefit, then they won't actually support you and actually will not engage themselves, because of course doctors have already a lot to do, and the main thing what all medical stuff has been taught during the long actually years to be trained is the first thing: don't harm and be conservative. So this is what is especially need to be emphasized here. Thank you very much to all panelists, because we have been already exceeding our planned time for 20 minutes, but I hope that this was interesting for the participants, and we are looking very much for your feedback, as it was already confirmed in the chat that these presentations will be actually shared with you, and all this event is recorded, so, and also this link will be shared with you. Thank you very much, and we are looking further to the next encounters, and perhaps we can actually achieve something on this direction on innovation in hospitals on the European level. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Janus.
Thank you all. Bye-bye.